major barrier to happiness is the direct pursuit of happiness. What do I mean by that? So if you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, today's the day, I'm going to become happier. I'm making a choice to be happy. Happiness is valuable for me. It's important. I'm going to attain it. You will actually become less happy. Now, that's a problem because there are so many benefits to happiness. Beyond the fact that it feels good to feel good, happiness also contributes to our creativity and productivity. It improves our relationships. It enhances our health, makes us more resilient, and the list goes on. We become more successful, all other things being equal, if we increase our happiness levels. So there's so many benefits to happiness, and yet what the research, and this is research by Iris Moss, shows is that if you tell yourself, I'm going to be happy, or happiness is important for me, you're less likely to be happy. So what do we do about that? So here's an analogy that can help, that has helped me understand how we can value happiness and enhance it. Imagine going outside. It's a beautiful sunny day. You look up at the sun. Now, if you look at the sun directly, it will hurt your eyes. You will tear up. However, if you take that same sunlight and you put it through a prism, so you break the light, then you can look at the outcome, at the colors of the rainbow, and enjoy them and savor them. So looking at the sun directly, that hurts. Looking at the sun indirectly, that helps. And it's the same with happiness. When I pursue it directly, I want to be happy, I'm going to be happy, I'm making a choice to become happier. That's directly pursuing it. It will hurt us. We will become less happy. But if we take happiness and break it down into its metaphorical colors of the rainbow and pursue those, then we can become happier. That's the indirect pursuit of happiness. Now, the question is, what are those metaphorical colors of the rainbow? And that's where we get to the SPIRE elements: spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. These are the metaphorical colors of the rainbow. These are the very things that we can and ought to pursue if we are to become happier. They are our indirect path to happiness.
Oh, mate, I love this so much. And I think that this is such a... For me, this is the thing that when I watched your episode on Big Things YouTube channel, it clicked to me so clearly where so many of us go wrong. And the way that at least I perceive it is when we attach happiness to certain things in life that we think we can just grab a hold of, it often eludes us. Like, I think that everybody can say that they've had an experience at some point in their life where they've said, when I reach this milestone, be it in my career or financially, or when I have this many friends, or when I reach this age, I will in turn feel happy. And then we get to that moment and we look around and happiness has escaped us. It is something different that we feel. It is probably the weight of expectation having removed or stripped any opportunity for happiness from us. So what is it about the pursuit of these things, be it spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, or emotional well-being, that actually allows us to achieve the happiness? Is it being in pursuit of something that is net positive to our lives? Is it the pursuit in itself, like being in the motion of something that allows us as human beings to feel some kind of internal rightness? Like, I'm trying to think of the best way to conceptualize this for people listening to understand it.
Yeah, so the way to think about these 5 elements of a happy life, the SPIRE elements, is that they are part of our nature as human beings. And, just like, vitamin C is good for us. Cyanide is bad for us. In the same way, psychologically, there are certain things that are good for us and certain things that are bad for us. Now, why? For each one of the spiral elements, you can find evolutionary reasons, or for people in religion, they can find religious reasons. But the fact is, regardless of where they came from, how or why they emerged, they are human needs. And Bradley, what I think may be helpful is, let me elaborate on each one of them
That'd be
just
great.
briefly, and then you'll see how deep rooted they are in our nature. So begin with spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being, we can of course attain it through religion. However, even more fundamentally, it's about finding a sense of meaning and purpose in our life. And we can find that through religion. We can find it in our work. We can find it also in our relationships or in our hobbies. But it's a fundamental human need. Viktor Frankl talked about man's search for meaning and how that's important regardless of where we are, whether we are doing work that we love or trying to survive in a concentration camp. The second element beyond meaning and purpose of spiritual well-being is being mindful, being present. And again, there's a long history of work around meditation, but meditation broadly defined. So yes, we can sit down, in lotus position and focus on the breath going in and out, or we can engage in prayer, or we can listen to a piece of music and be present, or we can play sports and experience flow, or engage in yoga. These are all practices that get us to be present, and that is a deep, essential human need that, by the way, is frustrated in today's world by and large. Daniel Goleman of emotional intelligence fame talks about our age being the age of distraction. And it's so important to shift from multitasking to single tasking, at least part of the time. So that's spiritual well-being. Mindfulness and meaning. Presence and purpose. The P of Spire, physical well-being. That's about nutrition. It's about exercise. Regular physical exercise has the same effect on our psychological well-being as our most powerful psychiatric medication. In fact, working in the same way. It releases norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine, all the feel-good chemicals in the brain, and or at least no negative side effects. So exercise is important. Rest and recovery is important in the physical well-being elements. So we have nutrition, we have recovery, we have exercise. Also, touch matters a great deal, whether it's hug or massage or any other form of tactile connection. Again, playing together in the same sandbox as opposed to being apart. The third element of Spire, the I, that's intellectual well-being. That's about curiosity, about being lifelong learners, about asking questions. Bradley, one of my favorite studies came out recently, shows that curiosity is not just important for success, which it is. It doesn't just contribute to happiness, which it does. It also helps us live longer. So curiosity may kill the cat. It does the exact opposite for us humans. Intellectual well-being is also about deep learning. It's about deep engagement, whether it's with text, it could be with a poem. Today in schools, learning is mostly linear. Okay, so you've learned 19th century Australian history, check. You've learned 20th century European, check, we can move on. Instead of deep engagement, reading and rereading, First course I took at Harvard as an undergrad, my freshman year, was a course on speed reading. And I must say, it stood me in good stead, and I'm grateful for that. But I think an even more important course that universities need to offer is slow reading or deep reading. And yet today we mostly skim the surface. We browse as opposed to going deep. So these are all elements of intellectual well-being. Relational well-being, the R of SPIRE, number one predictor of happiness. Quality time we spend with people we care about and who care about us. It could be our best friend, it could be family, it could be in the context of a romantic relationship, it could also be at work. Quality time with people who care about us and whom we care about, who are supportive and whom we support. Kindness, generosity, also part of relational well-being, are critical for a happy life. And then finally, emotional well-being. And that's about learning to embrace what we spoke about at the beginning, learning to embrace painful emotions, no matter what they are, and cultivating pleasurable emotions like gratitude, like joy, like love. So these are the 5 elements of a happy life. Now, if I wake up in the morning and say, I want to be happy, that's a problem. But if I say, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes today, or exercise 4 times a week, or learn, listen to a podcast every other day, or which is intellectual well-being, or spend more quality time with my loved ones, relational well-being, or do the gratitude exercise before going to bed. These are all indirect ways of pursuing happiness, evidence-based, that will increase our levels of well-being.